Hey, what's up, amigos? How you doing? Hope you're all having a great Friday. A nice, easy, simple dish for you guys and gals to do today. Oh, well, technically I'm making it, aren't I? So, we're going to do $10 meals. So we're going to be doing ourselves a delicious chicken noodle soup. We're actually going to make the egg noodles as well. So I'm going to show you how to do that. It's not scary, guys. It's dead simple, dead easy to make. I'm going to show you how to do that and go through the process. Also going to get some nice broth in there as well. So if you've got a chicken carcass, I'm going to show you what to do with it. Make a nice, rich, beautiful chicken stock as well. We're going to chuck in some celery, some thyme, a little bit of carrot. Nothing too complex. Very simple and easy. If you're feeling a little bit under the weather, this is going to be right up your street. Chicken bones. Oven on, 350 Fahrenheit. I almost said Celsius again. That would be a little too hot. So, yeah, 180 Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit. So let's grab our chicken bones. So when we're talking about like $10 meals, right? So the chicken bones don't actually cost a huge deal. Now, this whole chicken I bought was about $8, right? So if you break it down, I'm not using the whole thing. So technically, the chicken bones is about $3. You got about probably, or $2.50, sorry, and the breast is about between $1.50 and $2. So you got to break down the price as well. So you're going to use the legs and stuff for other things. So, or you could always ask your butcher. He might even throw them in for free. Go down there and just ask him, can you just sell me a chicken carcass? I don't want anything else. And, you know, get yourself a chicken carcass to make some really nice, fresh, beautiful soup instead of buying the pre-made chicken stock, which it's never good. It's always best to make it yourself. So what we're going to do is grab the chicken carcasses without making too much of a mess. So I'm going to take off the excess fat. Now we've got the little chicken wings as well. I'm going to chuck them in there for extra flavor. So we're going to get rid of this bag once I've taken off the fat. So I'm going to show you how to do that. It's not a huge deal of fat. It's pretty much on the back end. So taking off the tail, taking off this excess fat, just so we don't have it's too oily or too fatty in there. And what we're going to do is just carefully just take off that fat. So, and we're just going to take off the tail end as well. So get rid of that. If you want to keep it, maybe you want to keep the fat, flatten it out, put it on a tray, put another tray on top or parchment, and you can make some like chicken crisps if you really wanted to, you know? So, you know, there's other things. I don't want a fatty stock today, so I'm just getting rid of it. But if you want to keep it and use it for something, you can probably make some nice little chicken crisps. But I'm kind of trying to keep this down. So, yeah, I'm getting rid of the fat for today. But that's looking good. So there's the beautiful carcass. Now, if you want to throw in some garlic and all that, you can do. I'm going to be throwing that into the stock later on, so you don't really need to worry about it. Pop this in the oven. Let's get this on the go. So, we're going to backpack this chicken breast. We're going to leave the skin on. Actually, we're going to take the skin off, because I want it less fatty, right? Because I'm kind of contradicting myself otherwise. So let me grab my knife again. I'm going to just take that off. So the skin should, I say should, right? Should come straight off. If you want to do this on the chopping board, probably be a little bit more safer. But this should just come straight off. Shouldn't have any issues or any problems with it. So what we're going to do is just take this off very, very carefully. Thyme and a little touch of garlic. So, and if you want to save a little bit more money, if you haven't got the fresh thyme, you want to cut the costs down a little touch, you can use the dried thyme or dried herbs. That's a little bit cheaper, as it's part of your basic commodities. Right, so I'm just going to take the skin off this. If you want to crush it, you can do. It's just come off for me. I'm just going to snap it in half. There we go. Just chuck that in so we get all the flavor out of there. Or you can crush it, whatever you prefer. Oh, and a little touch of oil. So I've got some extra virgin olive oil here. If you want to use any other oils, that's absolutely fine. It's up to you. It did beautifully. So there we go. So our chicken breasts ready to go. So I'm going to pop this in the fridge, keep it cool. Okay, chicken bones are in. We're going to start prepping up the veggies for the stock. So we've got some celery, got some onions. Have I got some carrots? I can't remember buying any carrots. If I haven't got any carrots, then okay. But I'm pretty sure I did. So garlic and thyme as well. So we're going to get that out now. But they're not going to be that expensive because, you know, carrots. So we're only going to need 2 of these. And then we're probably only going to need 2 more for the soup itself. So 2 for the stock. So we want 1 stick of celery. Also need 1 or 2 more sticks afterwards. Don't want to go too crazy on the celery. If you've got a little touch of parsley, which I have, just a small sprig to go in there. I'm just talking like very small handful. So a little bit of parsley to chuck in there. So got a little bit of old parsley to use up as well. So garlic we've got here, and then just 1 onion. Okay, so let's start prepping these up. Also, I need to give these a little bit of a wash. So, especially with the celery, you usually get like dirt and soil and bacteria. So, just give them a nice little wash before you start chopping them up and whatnot under cold water. Right, so, Chef, why are you peeling this for the stock? Right, so just to bear in mind, you can put this in there if you want to, but just bear in mind, the skins will actually add a little bit of bitterness to your stock. So, I don't like the bitterness in my stock, so I peel them. So, just bear that in mind. So that's why we peel it off. Right, also, we're not going to take the skins off this, but later on we will. What do you mean by the skins? So, if you don't like the textures of celery, you can actually remove the stringiness. How? I'm just going to show you, but I'm still going to use it. Actually peeling the outside. If you peel the outside, you won't have that stringiness anymore. So you can have celery if you enjoy the flavor. But anyway, I'm going to put this into the stock anyhow, so that's all going in. But that's just a little tip for you guys and gals. If you really don't like the textures like me, I hate the stringiness and that in my teeth. It just, yeah, it's just not my my favorite thing. So I usually peel my celery. So if you're the same and you love celery flavor, there you go. A little cheeky tip for you. We're just going to roughly chop up the onion, nothing too crazy. So just top and tail the onion. Just cut this into a rough dice. There we go. We're also going to get a little touch of color on this as well, so we can get a nice little dark, rich flavor on the go. So we've got the onions, celery, the carrots, a little touch of parsley as well, 2 little garlic cloves, which I'm just going to crush down. I'm not going to grate it, so let's crush that down. Let's get the skins off. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to get a nice large pan onto a medium heat. So I'm going to have a little touch of oil in there, about a tablespoon. Not going to go too crazy, as I said. I don't want this like super, super greasy. So that will be plenty. So we're going to get this nice and hot. Once it's hot, we're going to start adding the veggies in there, the onions, the garlic, all those beautiful things. Also, in addition, we're going to add a bay leaf in there. So we're going to grab that out now in a second. Just going to drop all the veggies in first. So all that sizzle. Beautiful. So that's going in. I've set the parsley aside. I'm going to drop that in last. I don't want to sear that off. Alrighty, so let's give this a stir around. So, we're just basically waiting for the sugars to come out of the onions, and that's what caramelizes on the pan and the onions itself. So that browning is basically the sugars that come out from the vegetables. So if you ever wonder, why does it brown? It's because of the sugars from the veggies. So we've got the chicken bones here. So those chicken wings, look at them. Nice and golden. Can you see the fat dripping off as well? So I don't want to try and get too much fat in there. I mean, some will go in. You can't avoid it all. Do you know what I mean? But we're going to try and drain some of this off. So that's roasted off really nice. We've got some beautiful colors on there. So we're going to pop that straight into the pan. Whoop. In it goes. In goes the wings. Fantastic. So I'm just going to take this off the heat for the time being. So that's okay. We're going to turn this off for now. Actually, we're going to turn this on to a medium. I'll come back to that in a second. Why? So, what we're going to do before we start putting that on the heat, can you see all that grease in there, right? I'm going to get rid of it, because I don't want that going in my stock. If you want to keep it, there's not very much grease in there at all, but what we're going to do, without disturbing all those beautiful flavors in there, right? What we're going to do is just dab it really kind of lightly. Just to pick up all that kind of grease. You don't want that going in the stock. If you do, that's fine. Whatever you fancy. If you prefer that, that's fine, but I'm taking it out. So, a little bit less grease in that stock. Right, so put this onto a heat. Starting to smoke. Just add a little dash of water into here. So, without burning the sediment, what we're going to do is grab ourselves a little cheeky spoon. What we're going to do is just pull up all those beautiful flavors in there. Just kind of let it cook down. So this is going to be the base. This is the beautiful base. Now a lot of people just wash this away. Criminal. You shouldn't. You shouldn't do it. Make sure it goes in the pan. So this is a lot of flavor right here. This is where all the juices have caramelized at the bottom of the pan. So much flavor in there. So you want to put that into your stock. So super, super important. So we're going to drop that in there. All that beautiful flavor. So I'm just going to quickly just give this a little rinse. All those little bits of chicken in there, all that flavor. So what we're going to do, drop the rest of that in there. There we go. So I'm going to put this back onto low heat. We'll put it onto a medium to begin with. So once it comes up to a simmer, we'll actually turn it down to a low. But anyway, we're going to add the parsley and the bay leaf in that, and we're going to top this up with water. So if you're going to ask me how much, I'd probably say about a litre and a half. So look at that beautiful stock, guys and gals. So all that beautiful flavor in there, some really nice, dark, rich flavors in there. It's what you're after. It's what you're after. I'm going to prep up the carrots and the celery first, as my board is still good here, which I can use. Right, so it's top and tail. Give this a little bit of a peel. Celery. I don't want to go too crazy with the celery. I don't want that celery flavor taking over too much. So what I'm going to do is give this a wash. It's very soily. And I'm not a huge fan of that stringiness, so like I said to you before, I'm just going to peel the outside. And if you're not a fan of that textures as well, you can do the same. And what we can do with this can go in the stock. So I don't want it too celery flavor, but we can put that in there. So I'm just going to slice this at an angle. And you don't even need to cook the celery. If you want that nice little bite to it, then by all means. I will cook the carrots slightly, so I'm going to blanch them off, refresh them, and then we're going to drop them. So I may as well cook the carrots now while I'm waiting. So I didn't want too much celery, but I feel like we could do with another one. So let me do one more, and that'll be fine. Celery, carrots. I'm going to get a little pan on for the carrots. Oops. Top this up. Just going to cook them for about 6-7 minutes. They don't need to be like super, super soft. They're just nicely tender. So pop this on the stove. I'll pop a little bit of salt in there as well. So I'm just going to flick that over to a medium heat. So what we're going to do is grab the salt. 2 pinches will be fine. But what we're going to do next, we're going to be making some noodles. I feel like 200 grams will be fine. Put 2 eggs, a little bit of oil, salt. I think that'll be good. So let's get this on the go. Right, so I'm just mixing that egg up. Bloop, 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 bloop. So that's there. Looking fantastic. So I'm just going to give this a nice little mix. If it's a little dry, just add a little touch of water just to help bind it together. Right, so we're going to knead this for about 5 minutes while we wait for the timer, or 3 minutes. Also, I'm going to drop my carrots because I want to blanch them off very, very quickly. So they're going to go in about 6-7 minutes just to soften up. The water's simmering, so make sure I turn that up. So those are going to cook out, and then going to refresh them under cold water afterwards. Right. Right, we've got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So while that's resting, I'm going to cling film that. Right, sorry. We're going to roll the egg noodles out now. Let's give these a little cheeky roll. So I can almost see through the table, so I feel like we're about there with the noodles. Let's fold this little bad boy up with a book, so don't be shy in the flour. Reason for it, super important, make sure you've got plenty of flour in between the pasta, because if you don't, it'll stick together when you cut it, and you're going to have lots of issues, and it's going to clump together when it cooks. So just make sure you use plenty of flour to fold this. Okay, cool. Nobody's perfect. Right, I need to drop my chicken before I take thingies because the temperature's just come up. It's going to take an hour and a half. So chicken breast is going to drop. So it's a nice thick chicken breast. So we're going to drop this down into the water bath. So, whoop. So, water bath is just right beside. So it's just up here in the corner. So I'm going to just drop that in, put our timer on, and we're good to go. So timer started. Perfect. I'm going to roll that last piece and then we can cook all the noodles at once. Noodle time. So what you want to do is just carefully pick up the noodles, right? And you want to drop them in, just kind of like flaking them. If you just drop them in all at once, what's going to happen? They're going to kind of stick together and you're going to have issues. Whereas you flake it through your fingers, it's just going to fall in very nicely and it's just going to be nice and separate and without clumping it. So I'm going to put all of this in here straight off the bat. I'm just got to be careful this doesn't froth up because the amount of flour that's gone into there. So when you add flour into the water, if you've ever done it before, it'll start frothing up. So just be very careful, especially when it's boiling. It might froth up a little bit. So a couple of minutes for this, about 2-3 minutes, and they should be good. And I'm going to drop them into ice water, which I need to get together now. Right, so there we go. There's those beautiful noodles. Fantastic. Homemade, hand cut, hand rolled, easy, easy, lemon squeezy. I need this pan anyway, so we can strain off the stock. So I'm just going to give this a wash. Just drain this beautiful stock off. And let's knock that off. We're going to get the chicken out. We're going to slice and dice it. Right, so cut that. Juicy, it's tender, cooked top to bottom. Put some of those chunky bits of chicken on there. A little bit of thyme. So a few little bits of carrots, celery. Just a little touch, not going crazy with the parsley, just enough just to kind of finish it off. So egg noodles, so 200 grams of flour, 2 eggs, 20 ml of oil, 2 pinches of salt, bound together, add a little touch of water if needed it, rested for 20-30 minutes, rolled it out, cut in half, rolled out as thin as possible until it was transparent almost, and then folded it up like a book with flour in between to stop it sticking, and then sliced and then cooked down for about 2-3 minutes from boiling water, then refreshed in cold water, and then obviously heated back through with the broth. The broth itself, roasted chicken bones off. We added bay leaf, thyme, some garlic, carrot, celery, and obviously when the chicken bones came out, we deglazed the pan, took rid of the fat, poured that straight in there. We roasted off the veggies with the onions as well, the carrots, the celery. So we combined those together and then topped it up with water and cooked down for about 2 hours, very, very, very gently, very slowly, until you got that beautiful broth flavor, chickeny flavor, sorry. And then we sliced up some celery, took off the, what do you call it? Took off the toughness from it, so we peeled the outside. Peeled the carrots and sliced them, and then blanched the carrots for a couple of about 6 minutes. We did sous vide chicken, so you can roast the chicken and dice it if that's fine, if you haven't got a sous vide machine. So if you're going to roast it off, I would probably say 350 Fahrenheit or 180 Celsius the oven. Pan-sear the chicken, turn it over, and then put it in the oven for about, I'd say about 25 to 30 minutes. If it's a large chicken breast, 30 to 35 minutes would be fine. And then let it rest and then slice it. And then just a touch of little parsley just to finish it off. So very, very tasty indeed. We're going to have a little try now. Oh my god, those egg noodles are good. Delicious. chicken's tender. Oh my goodness me. But have a lovely rest of your Friday. I'll be back Tuesday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time as always. Thank you so much for the love today. Thank you for the support. I always appreciate it. Have a great rest of your Friday. Yeah, Friday. Guys and gals, take care. Much loves. And bye for now, amigos.